Certain scholars try to disqualify the integrity of the Bible by citing an alleged contradiction in the book of Deuteronomy surrounding the information concerning the death of Moses. But is this a legitimate and credible argument? We're going to discuss that next on this installment of Defending the Bible. Scholars almost unanimously agree that Moses authored the first 5 books of the Bible, which are referred to as the Pentateuch. These writings are filled with invaluable information concerning the creation of the world, the establishing of covenant, the origin of mankind, the instituting of the law, the design of God for worship, and really the list goes on. Included in these files of information are the many details about the life of Moses. The documentation covers everything from his birth to his death, with reams of material sandwiched in between. It is his death, though, that many scoffers mention when attempting to discredit the Bible in general and the authorship of Moses in particular. The complaint questions how the book of Deuteronomy could possibly document the death and burial of the great prophet when Moses is the person credited for writing the book of Deuteronomy in the first place. Well, answering this allegation is rather quite simple. After 40 years of aimlessly wandering in the wilderness following the Egypt Exodus, God's people were finally spiritually prepared to occupy the promised land. This proved to be a pivotal time of transition as the authority of leadership was being transferred from Moses to Joshua. Deuteronomy chapter 31 and verse 23 provides that reference. Joshua was given the assignment of leading the Hebrews into their homeland without the presence of Moses. So it's logical that the book of Joshua follows the book of Deuteronomy. The most plausible scenario for answering this allegation really rests in the fact that concluding chapters of certain books really functioned as the initial chapter for the book that followed. When the biblical text was written, the typical manner of storing a book was in the form of scrolls. Where one book ended and the next book began, though, wasn't always plainly outlined, and that caused some problems. When the books of the Bible were originally written, they did not contain chapter or verse references. There are actually several chapter breaks that were poorly placed in the Bible, which resulted in difficult grammatical flow. But these divisions have absolutely nothing to do with biblical integrity. No truth of Scripture is altered. It's altogether possible that Deuteronomy 34 is really the introductory chapter to the book of Joshua. The chapter divisions used today are really the result of Stephen Langston, an archbishop in Canterbury. He developed the modern chapter and verse demarcation around 1227 AD. He did this in the Latin Vulgate. The Wycliffe English Bible of 1382 was the first Bible to adopt this system of divisions. In 1551, a man by the name of Stephanus added verses of division to his 4th edition of the Greek New Testament. The first translation to utilize versification was the Geneva Bible of 1557 and then 1560. Now, there is also another second possibility that is highly plausible, and that is someone else simply added the final chapter. It was common for another person to write the obituary of a deceased author. The same practice is widely used even today in the form of a preface. Whether the supplemental information that we have regarding the death of Moses was provided by Ezra or Eleazar or another reporter, honestly is quite irrelevant. The inspiration of Scripture is in no way violated. Hey, thanks for joining me on this installment of Defending the Bible. I look forward to our next discussion as together we provide credible and simple answers to these questions that people sometimes make complex. I'll see you next time.